Yeah, y'all gonna stop coming in my live talking about this Victor dude, bro. We hooping this year. Y'all gonna see.
Alright, team, so let's talk about it. Earlier today, I saw this notification by ESPN, and it led me to this article. It's Pop's decision. He's earned that. Inside Greg Popovich's fight to return to the sideline. And in here, we saw Keldon Johnson's point of view of what happened to Pop. So, scrolling a little down, Johnson was there to get extra work and treatment before a game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Popovich, then at 75, was there to go through a pregame workout. We all know Popovich gets a little workout in before the games and stuff. But shortly after stepping away from his workout next to the team's locker room, Popovich stopped in his tracks. Team staffers who were around while he was lifting weights knew something was off and grabbed him. They immediately sat Popovich down. Nearby, Johnson heard the commotion as the coach began receiving medical attention. "I couldn't see him," Johnson told ESPN, but to see how everyone was talking about it was scary. Johnson tried to get closer, but Popovich was already being attended to by the team staffers, who would eventually lead him to an ambulance outside the arena to a nearby hospital. Only a few players and staffers and the arena employees had any sense of what had happened. "Nobody really wanted to say anything," Johnson said. "Nobody wanted to let us in and tell us what was going on. The unknown was really tough." So it turns out that players actually didn't know what had happened to Popovich. They had just seen a medical emergency, and the Spurs didn't let out any details. So the Spurs had to go play a whole game knowing something was wrong with their coach, not knowing what exactly, not knowing the extreme it could be, and they had to go out and play that game. Now, I don't remember how that turned out, but let's just go see to see how it really affected the Spurs. So November 2nd, they ended up losing that game as expected. Can only imagine the type of things that were going through their mind, seeing what had happened to their coach and not knowing, like, is he going to be okay or nothing like that. The Spurs had to keep it close and tight-knit. They said that Popovich was sick initially, as you can see right here, under the weather, and assistant coach Mitch Johnson would lead the team that night. Behind the scenes, though, word had begun to spread among the team what had happened to Popovich. The rock upon which one of the NBA's most successful franchises had been built was seriously and perhaps life-threatening. Popovich hasn't coached since that night and won't coach again this season. Veteran Harrison Barnes said Popovich is ahead of schedule in his recovery. Another source said that the coach has advanced in 5 months of rehab to the point where many who suffer strokes progress over 9 months. Still, no one knows yet whether he can return to the sidelines next season. So there is some good news there, knowing that Pop is ahead of schedule. Everyone around the Spurs organization knows that Popovich is a hard worker, so this really doesn't surprise me. He also released that statement saying that he was attacking his recovery and striving to get back to the sideline. From an outsider's perspective, I can only imagine that Pop wants to get back out there, but nobody really knows if he's going to be able to. I'm sure Pop doesn't even know himself. In here, they give a little anecdote of Pop taking Keldon Johnson to dinner, and he said, "You want to play, you better try the oysters." But if y'all want to go over this whole thing, I'm going to put the link to this article in the description so y'all can read it for yourselves. But the reason that I am bringing this to the channel is because there is a part in here that I want to talk about, and that is right here. On February 27th, an off day between a game in Houston and a game in Memphis, the Spurs were able to find time for Popovich to speak to his team. The collective weight of Popovich's absence, Wembanyama's devastating news, and the long road trip — they had been home only twice in a month — had taken a toll. The Spurs had lost 4 in a row to drop out of the playoff picture. On the practice court at the Rock, Popovich stood in front of his team to deliver a message. He wasn't coming back this season, he told them, but he had been watching them closely and was still in position to hold them accountable for their play. "Everybody shut the F up when he walked in," Johnson said. "That's just how it's always been with Pop. Obviously, he's still recovering, but he was still cussing. Y'all need to play defense. Y'all need to rebound." Knowing that he really is watching the games because he's calling out specific situations was huge. This right here is typical Pop. I expected him to be watching the games, and the fact that they said this doesn't surprise me. Him calling out specific plays is actually hilarious, and I believe after they announced that Popovich had spoke to the team, they had came out the next game and they looked pretty good. I forget what game it is. I'm not sure that if they won. I'm pretty sure they won because they looked really good. And that just goes to show the type of leader that Popovich is, how powerful he is, how much he means to this team. Not saying that they don't respect Mitch Johnson, but I just know it meant a little bit more coming from Popovich, you know, their coach. Most of these guys on the team, a majority of their career has been under Popovich. And so for them to suddenly switch up and get a new face around here, Mitch Johnson, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it could definitely throw them off, especially coming in the middle middle of the season. And so for Popovich to get in there and start talking a little bit, getting on them, and for them to come and show up the next game, I think that just shows you how powerful Pop is. And it goes to show that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, because I know that there has been fans when Pop was coaching that wanted him fired, but now that he's not here and we're missing that hole in the team, in the locker room, you kind of feel that a lot. And so I say all of that to say the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and appreciate greatness while you have it, because now that Pop isn't here, I can speak for basically everyone in the Spurs organization and Spurs fans. We miss Pop so much, and it would just be so much better to have him here. But unfortunate things happen, and we wish him a speedy recovery. And Keldon Johnson says right here, it's what we needed. I feel like he brought that to life, that spark, that Pop that we all knew and loved. He came into that meeting and that's who he was. It was like he didn't skip a beat. He spoke a little more slowly than before, more measured, wearing an all-black sweatsuit. Popovich talked about the future. One, he hopes to include a spot at the head of the bench, but he also cautioned, reiterating a standard that has come to define his 3 decades at the helm. If I can't be 100% myself, I'm doing everybody a disservice. That just sounds like something he would say, and it makes sense. If he's not 100%, he can't be himself, then it's just no point in coming back. And if he's not safe, if the doctors don't clear him, then he shouldn't come back. He should retire. But like they said, it's Pop's decision, and he's earned that inside Greg Popovich's fight to return to the sideline. So I wanted to get on here and share this article with y'all. Let me know y'all's thoughts down below in the comment section. Me personally, I thought it was pretty insightful to get Keldon Johnson's point of view and see what the team was kind of feeling or thinking in that situation, because they didn't know anything. They were kind of like us. Although they said that Popovich was sick, the team knew that something had happened, but not exactly what. But y'all be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to Spurs Spotlight. Until then, it's me, your boy Chris, and I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.